Alright guys, I'm back, and today we shall build a Predaking. And originally when I reviewed him, I gave him a 10 out of 10 for the full set. And in my update video that I did on it, I gave it a 9 out of 10 due to some issues I was having with it. So today we're going to see how well that still holds true. So we're going to combine them and go from there. So yeah, let's take a look here. Let's start with just getting the guns all out of the way, and then we'll so take off the swords, set those off. You won't need the swords. Take the guns, put them in a pile. We will be combining the guns. And then with the razor claw here, you also want to pull these shoulder cannons off. And we'll come back to those a little later. Alright, so let's start with the feet, I suppose. So what we want to do here, actually, I guess let's start with the gun, like I keep saying. Alright, so what you want to do is these two will line up like so. And then you take this bigger gun, because you got the two little pistols. But you want to take the big gun here. And it's got a square peg here and a round peg here. And this has got the square hole here and a round hole there. So just line those up and plug them in, just like that. Then you can take this gun here. It's got two pegs and two holes on each side, and you just flip it together. It's easy as that. Do the same thing over here. And then you can pull the cannon out, and then you got the big gun. So let's set that off to the side. Then we come to him, and what we want to do here is flip up the feet, and then we want to rotate the rhino head forward like so. So what we're doing here is, this is how the rhino head is. So you collapse this up and then rotate it around and then flip it forward on the whole hinge. So you could flip it forward like that, but you want to get the whole hinge up there. Just like so. And then collapse everything like you're going back into beast mode here. And then there's a little slotted peg right there that will slot into a little hole right there. So you just want to just kind of try and line those up and plug them together. Just like so. Pull this connector port out while you're back here. They are really tight, at least on this one. So you might want to grab something to help pry it out. Alright, so do the same thing on this side here. Just collapse it together, slide it in, and then from there you can just take these rhino legs, and I just like to fold them up on the back here, just to kind of keep them out of the way. Try to make sure that that port has got that full range of motion there. And then you want to collapse the legs up, and like I said, the best way to do it is just do one at a time, and then just kind of wedge it in there, kind of like at a sideways slant, and then like so. Alright, and then get the right foot here. Yeah, that's the right one. And it's got two little portholes here, two little pegs there, and just plug it in. Easy as that. So we'll set him off to the side. So we got Savage Bull here. Basically, it's the same thing. You want to start putting him back into his bull mode. And then as you do that, you know, collapse everything in. Like these, there's a little slot on the side of his arm here that goes into that hole there. So you just kind of angle all of this around. Just like so. Those will collapse down. So you want to, this bullhead, it just comes straight up like that, and then you want to pull this out. And I wanted to mention this while I was reviewing these guys, but I forgot. You know the best thing about Unique Toys? Tantrum and Headstrong, the fact that they're so similar in design, and yet they are completely different molds. And yes, that is meant to be a jab at Mastermind Creations there. I mean, for $100 each, or $100+ each, I think everyone would have deserved a new mold for their figures, don't you think? So pull the skirting out, clasp that in, and collapse it in. Like so. Fold those panels down, grab the foot plate, and you just plug it together, and there you go. Pretty simple stuff there. Now for Rampage here, what we want to do is, let's see here. Tail needs to come out this way. Fold up the feet. Pull out this port. We want to fold in the head, collapse it all back together, and then I know we will rotate this arm around, collapse this down. This is actually on a ball joint in the socket and then a hinge in there, and it all just kind of folds down and in. And then you just fold this up and plug this together. And I think we want to, you don't really have to do this, but I'm going to, just because I think it's going to make it so it's not quite getting in the way, but rotate the hand around so the paw is up. Kind of keep that out of the way. Do the same thing over here. Change it around. go. There's the top half done. And then the bottom half, what you want to do is you rotate this around like so, and then that way he's got the double bend elbows. You can actually collapse these legs down a little bit if you wish, but then you have a really stumpy arm, so I leave them all the way extended here. Take the hand here, and there's two little slots here and here that plug into these little slots here and here. So as you're plugging them together, there's a slot port here and a port here that plug in there and there. So it all kind of comes together and plugs together very nicely, very securely. And there you have the right hand done. We'll attach the cannon to it later once we get the actual figure in combine mode. And then you take dive bomb here, and you want to pull off the wings. Just kind of gently ease them out. Flip up the feet, and then you want to let's see here, connector port is here, so we want to rotate this around so the feathers, tail feathers, are on the front, and then you rotate this one like so, so it's got the double bend elbow going on there. Flipping the hands, flip these things out of the way here for a second. And then the hands will collapse in, or you flip the arms, the forearms into the shoulders, and then you collapse it all together, and that'll actually lock that middle waist piece into place without the bottom waist being hindered at all. So you have that rotation in the arm. Flip the head down, and then these things move, but I don't know why, so we're just gonna leave them where they are. These little triangle bits here. And then you take his hand, and it's the same thing as Rampage. He's got porthole on this side and a porthole on this side, along with a slotted peg that will peg it all together. So, and again, once it gets in there, it's pretty sturdy. So it's not coming out very easily. And even though his legs were loose in robot mode, they seem to hold in very well in arm mode. Waist is a little looser than I would prefer, but it doesn't really bother me too much. So set that off to the side. And now we get into Razor Claw here. And what we want to do here is you want to open up this cavity here and flip the hand in, but leave the paw facing the back like it is. And then you just collapse that back together. Do the same thing over here. And then collapse the arms together. These things will collapse in like so. And there's two little there's a peg on each side of the forearms that go into this little hole that's right here. And just slot those all together like so. And that will form the upper torso. You want to pull the torso out like so. Open up this, push the head back, rotate it around, collapse it all together. Come on. There we go. And then for the legs, you just flip up the feet and then you want to pull these connector ports down. And I believe that's all we do. Pretty sure. Alright. So, now we get into these extra pieces that Razor Claw came with. We'll start with the skirting here. So this is the back plate, and this is the front plate. And again, I showed this off with the instructions when I did the review the first time. And I don't have the instructions to show it off, but when you get this, it just kind of makes it look like these things are supposed to connect together like this, and just slot over like this. It does not work that way. Do not try it that way. You're liable to break something. They really, really suck at giving us good instructions there. So the real way to do this is you take the butt plate here, and it just kind of fits over the stem. You might want to have to move things out of the way a little bit here. So it fits over that stem, and then it pulls down over those hips. So when you get it right, those hips won't move anymore. So that's why there's that forward knee bend there, because that's going to now be his hips. And then you take this section here, and it slots over the front section here, and there's a little peg in there that pegs into this chest, but it doesn't do, I don't think it's really doing much. It's the friction in between the top, bottom, and the hips, or butt plate. But once that's all together, it is really, really, really sturdy. So you don't have to worry about that stuff coming off. Now, I really like this idea better than what the other companies are doing, and a lot of people might disagree with me because they like the to integrate as much parts into the robot mode and beast mode as possible. But I think by making these add-ons, they made this figure so much better because it doesn't hinder the actual robot, and you don't have to find places to fit everything, and once they're together, it's really sturdy. Whereas, you know, if you have this pieces that just have to flip down or rotate out, you know, they're not going to be as sturdy as one solid piece. So I think it works for the benefit of the actual figure. So there you have torso mode done. And the same goes with the wings. Let me pause this real quick, and then I'll go on a little bit of a rant. Okay, so here comes my rant about the wings. You know, a lot of people gave them shit about these wings being an extra piece. I mean, I can see where they're coming from, that it's supposed to be dive bombs wings. But if you remember G1 Predaking, he had big, massive wings, but the actual toy had little dinky wings that barely made it over his shoulders. So you really have to decide, do you want to have big, massive wings, or you want to have dinky little wings? Because you really can't have both. Now, Mastermind Creations, their dive bombs wings are going to be the Predaking's wings. But when they're on dive bomb, they look huge and massive, which looks cool. Don't get me wrong, it makes it look cool from the promo pictures we've seen, because he was supposed to be released about a year ago, and now he's not due till September, October, something like that, which means we'll probably see him next year, the rate they're going. But I mean, he looks great, but I think, like, I mean, imagine, because these wings look great on Predaking. So imagine these wings on little dive bomb here. You know, it looks okay, but that's way too big. It's comedically large. Although I would wonder if you could actually connect those Give me just 2 seconds, guys. I'm now on a mission. Oh, it's close. They almost lock together. This piece here and this piece here almost is almost the perfect distance from each other to friction it on. It is like really close here. So that, I mean, yeah, that would have been goofy, but that would have been cool if they designed it so that it would replace Dive Bomb's wings to alleviate those people that are bitching about Dive Bomb's wings not being a part of Predaking. So, anyway, while we're on the topic of the wings, I'm going to show this off now, while it's a lot easier to do so. So back here, these little ports here and here, they are designed for Dive Bomb's wings. So this little port here would plug into that little circle there. And what it's supposed to do is when you have these wings extended out, this is supposed to fill in a little bit of that gap there. And that's a great idea. The problem is that these little ports aren't strong enough to get plugged into these holes and pull out. So when I did that, that's when I broke off one of my tabs, is by plugging that in and pulling it out. So I don't recommend doing that. If you want to do it at your own risk, but know that you probably won't be getting the full Dive Bomb wing back without having to disassemble this whole wing. So don't do it. It's not worth it, I think. And while we got the wings out, we'll go over posability on them. They do go in and out. They come up and down. So good range of motion there. These things are on a nice ratchet, so you can get great range of motion there. Each one of the feathers can move, except for the very top one. And then also, you can rotate these little blades out to give them just a little bit more of a wingspan. So we'll do that real quick. And it's easier to do it when it's off of the Predaking. So we'll do that. And there we go. And we'll do the same thing over here. And the first few wings are on the bottom side are a lot easier to pull those blades out. Once you get up to the top, it's kind of harder because there's not as much space up there. All right, so now we got big sharp wings, and these things are wicked sharp. So just be warned on that too. Don't just like slap your hand on it or something like that. It will cause blood to be spilled. All right. So now let's get him into combine mode. We'll go over posability with each limb right before we're combining it. So there's nothing at the waist here, and no movement on the upper portion. The legs can swivel in and out like so, and then there is a forward movement on that knee, like I said, and then a backwards movement. And then there is a, I guess this would be a thigh swivel now. So there is that. So he's posable. These are still kind of loose, but once you start actually putting things on it, it gets a little bit sturdier. So here is the Tantrum. So the foot can swivel side to side. It's loose, but once you actually have that weight of the Predaking on there, it holds very well. He's got a heel tilt right here. The front section of the feet actually do fold forward, so you can get kind of more of a walking pose there. And then the toes are individually posed. And then once again, we can turn these lights on if we wanted to, but we're not, because that's just silly. And then once you plug this in here, which, you know, it's a nice solid joint, easy to put in there. Once you get that in there, he actually has, it's actually two different points of movement on the knee. There's where the combiner port is on the leg, and then also on where it is on Tantrum. So when you pull it back, you can either get it bent like that, or you can bend it like that. So he's actually got an incredible range of motion on his knee. So, I mean, he can get into some really wicked poses if you wanted to. And then there's Headstrong, who's got the exact same foot, only in reverse, so it swivels out the opposite direction. And other than that, everything is identical to Tantrum, so it gets the exact same posability. And, you know, even if you really wanted to, you got a you got kind of a, I guess it would be a shin swivel. So you got that as well. So he is definitely posable. Yeah, and it wasn't until just now that I realized that he's got that shin swivel. Although, you know, it makes perfect sense, since that those shins would be his waist, or these guys' waist. But I also didn't realize about that double bend elbow or knee, and that's really cool. I really dig that. So there we go. Then we'll slide this off to the back a little bit. Pull this up, zoom out a little bit, try, and alright, well, next one is him. So he's got a bicep swivel here, double bend at the elbow, like I said before. Once he's connected in here, this port does rotate, so he gets the up, down, and then in and out posability there. And then the hand is actually on a ball joint, so it gets a good range of motion there. And then the thumb is on a hinge here. And then he's got 2 points of articulation on the thumb itself. Each finger is on a ball joint with 2 points of articulation past that. So he's got full articulated hands. No issues there at all. And then I guess that's it for the hand, but yeah, super posable. So then you just take this and you plug it in to his shoulder right there. And on this arm, everything is exactly the same. The hand is just reversed. He'll have the same range of motions. So that's cool that they didn't have to like redesign it so that one had different posability than the other. And Dive Bomb has always given me trouble plugging in. There we go. So there is that. We've got most of the upper body done. So now what we'll do is we take the wings here, and the way they plug in is there's a little plug hole here and a plug there, and two little snaps up there. And what they do is they'll plug into this port here and this little slot here, and then there's two little clip systems up here. Now mine, it shaved off most of this clip when I first did it, or the first couple times I did it. And it's not, I mean, it's bad that that happened, but it actually doesn't hinder its stability in the slightest when it comes to that. So just kind of line those guys all up and give it a good push. And there you've got his wings. He's having a hard time standing today. It's because the thing came undone. There you go. These wings out. Rotate them however you want. Alright. And then the last thing you want to put on him is the head. It does have a swivel at the connector port, and then the head does rotate up and down, so he's got pretty much full articulation in the head, or in the neck anyway. And these two little ports here, they just plug into two little slots that are on the top up here. So just plug it in, and there is Warlord, or the Predaking, or probably one of the freaking coolest Transformers combiners I own. Yeah, let me pause this for just a second. I've got something in the oven I gotta go check. Sorry guys. Probably too much information there, but yeah, we'll get into some size comparisons here in just a second. Okay, so sorry about that, guys. Anyway, so here we have Predaking combined. You can take his cannon here, and that can just plug into, there's a little port on the side of Rampage's arm here, and you can just plug that in right there. And that is there. And then what you want to do with the cannons is you extend these out a little bit, like so, and then you rotate this little tab. There's just the tiniest little tab right there, and right there, and they will just plug into these little portholes on the side of the wings. So you could just take it and plug it right there, and that looks all right. It's okay. It doesn't hold very well because those ports are really small and they're barely in there. So what I like to do, and you guys don't have to do this, but what I like to do is take off the arm, and you can take this thing here, and it's actually got the combiner port here that goes into the shoulder on Razor Claw, but then there's also this hole here that you can plug into Dive Bomb. There you go. And then this will plug back into where it was. So essentially what we did is we put the shoulder cannon right in the middle of the shoulder. And if you take the wings out here, you can actually rotate the shoulder cannon independently, just by holding the arm into place. So you could still have this cannon facing forward a little ways if you wanted, without it hindering the arm at all. I like it better there because it holds on there, I mean, incredibly well. For some reason, Dive Bomb clicks into this better than he clicks into Razor Claw, and then this clicks into Razor Claw very well. So it's a very good, like, click, click, you know. And it gives his shoulders just that little bit more profile for girth. And when I first saw this in the promo pictures that you could do this, I thought it was ridiculous and stupid too. But then actually having it in hand and seeing that it actually doesn't hurt the aesthetics of the Predaking while making him have a little bit more of a bigger profile. I really like it. So, and I'm sorry I'm doing some of this off camera because it's just kind of a pain to get him to click in sometimes. Go. And there we have Predaking with the shoulder cannons and the and everything attached on. So very cool. I love this guy a lot. He's just amazing, and he's got this big freaking sword too, and you can take that and plug it into his hand if you wish. And it just there's a little slot hole there, and it just plugs right in. Like that, and you just fold the fingers over it like so. And that is your Predaking, fully functional, ready to just absolute decimate Autobots. For size comparison, yeah, I mean, they made the toes light up. I wish they made the head light up. That's one thing I wish they would have done. Even Crazy Debbie was able to do that one. Okay, so for size comparison, here is Thundercracker, who comes up to about his knees. So, I mean, he's definitely got a lot more girth to him now. And here is Megatron, who comes up about to his crotch plate. Again, he's just so much bigger than him. Here is the Hercules, who has also been giving me a lot of hard time lately staying together and such. I don't know why. Everybody just wants to be a pain to me today. What's your deal? There we go. Whatever. And to the head, he comes up, he's just a little bit, I mean, he is like this much taller than Devastator. I mean, he is just a hair taller, and that is perfectly fine with me. I love Predaking being the biggest combiner. He has to be the biggest combiner. There is the Fall Cybertron Bruticus with the Boosticus upgrade kit, and he comes up to right below the neck. So that I think that scales perfectly as well. And here is Minosaur. Also comes up just below his neck. And yeah. So I think right now what's going on here is a perfect scale. I always felt that Devastator should be just a little bit smaller than Predaking. Predaking is the biggest of the combiners. And then the rest of the combiners should be about the same size and should be around in this range. That's how I feel. I know that's not what we're gonna get, but that's what I feel. As for a rating, I know this whole review I've been just basically repeating myself. I can't give it a 10 out of 10. He still has those issues with the wings, with these getting ruined. Try that. And he is a little loose in the legs. Once you have him standing, he's stable, but he's a little fidgety. So ultimately, I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10, like I did originally. He's a great figure, highly, highly recommended, especially right now. Go on TF Source. If you're thinking about getting him, go to TF Source. They have each individual bot, with the exception of Razor Claw, I believe, on sale for like $60-$70. Or you can pick up the entire set for $360. That is like $150 off. Or $130 off. That is. I mean, that's like buying the limbs and getting the getting Razor Claw for free. It's an incredible deal. I'm actually trying to figure out if I can come up with $300 or $360 extra, just to buy a second one so I can keep him in robot mode. Yeah, it's a great deal. So if you're thinking about it, get him. Yeah, just incredible. And he's amazing. I absolutely love him. As far as the combiners I own and I've had, he is by far the best, I think. Hercules comes in a close second there, just because he's also pretty good. But he blows almost everybody else out of water. Most combiners have some sort of issue. Like, I mean, you can tell he has issues. And he's got more issues than he's worth. But all in all, Predaking, amazing, highly recommended. My question of the day is, and this is not me, I don't want to sound like I'm bashing TFC or Mastermind Creations, aside from the fact that their Hardhead and Tantrum are the same mold, just retooled. That is bullshit, I think. But which camp are you guys in? TFC, Mastermind Creations, or Unique Toys? Obviously mine's Unique Toys. I might invest in the Predaking from TFC. I've been drooling over their Rampage for a while now. I think he looks amazing. So I might get them and see how they compare to him. But as of right now, the market's a little oversaturated for Predaking stuff. So I just have so many other things to pick up as well. So anyway, Transformers, Unique Toys, Razor Claw, Warlord, the full Predaking, all combined and ready to fight.